Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and sitting down and listening to what I have to say and what we're going to talk about. I want to thank everybody for coming out. And of course, I'm going to stop in for a moment here and say hello to everybody. Van Lady, thank you very much. Annabelle Roma, Diane Solomon, thank you for coming out. Hello, how are you, everybody? Teresa Nelson, Carrie, thank you very much for being here. I'm sure cosplay should be in here somewhere as well. So I'll say hello to you as well. Pen 1010, thank you very much. And Janice, of course. And hello, how are you? Kate D, thank you very much for coming out. I know I've seen a couple names so far, Van Lady and Kate D. New names to the chat, so thank you very, very much for coming out. Teresa Nelson and Pen 1010. Patricia Mitchell, thank you very much for coming out. Diane Solomon, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate the well wishes. Today's never been an easy day for me, but that's a personal story, and we'll talk about that maybe another time. Van Lady, thank you very much again. I know we've been talking in comments section for other lives. Part of the replay crew, thank you for coming out tonight, and hello to the replay crew. If I don't mention you later, I know I'm mentioning you now. Katrina Rustova, thank you very much. Martha Larrabee, thank you. Nani of 7, thank you. Sheba Mom, thank you. Robin N, thank you. It's great to see many new faces tonight, and I'm sure more people will be coming along once they realize that I'm live. Mimi Jean, thank you very much. But tonight is kind of like a hodgepodge night. And first and foremost, I want to thank everybody for helping me reach 900 subscribers. It's actually over 925 subscribers now, which to me is a very humbling and amazing number because I started my channel with basically me and Carrie. And along came cosplay, and along came it's been a long walk to get to 900 plus. Carrie, thank you very much for remembering that. Yep, Sheba Mom 933. That, like I said, it is a very humbling number to me. Carrie has it right though. Please remember to hit that hit the like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell. Going live or have been live and can either watch on replay or catch up on what's going on. Maybe Gene, you're absolutely right. Happy Father's Day to the real fathers out there. Nope. Thank you very much. Alicia P. Thank you. I agree 100%. Mimi Jean. Unfortunately, I was as I see it, and I think the court documents, if you were to ever see them, I was robbed of being able to be as good as a father as I could have been. Amy Forever, thank you. And that Happy Father's Day doesn't go to just the dads. It goes to the moms as well that had to be a single mom. I know my mom struggled to be a single mom and raising a teenage boy, so and preteen boy with all that she went through. So it definitely is a lot of work when you're a single mom to raise a boy or children alone. Glad to see more and more people are coming out tonight. It has been a long, hot, and humid day in Kingsport today. Whew. There's cosplay. I knew she would be along. Thank you, Mimi Jean. Thank you very much. Martha Larrabee can. Wow, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot to do. Hello, Butterfly Kisses. How are you doing tonight? Country Girl, thank you. Thank you for coming out. Whew. I'm sitting here realizing how humid the day really has been because it's really getting to me. Or tonight's it's getting to me. Or I feel it tonight. I'll put it that way. Man, it hit 88 degrees, and it's hot for this time of year. It really is hot for this time of year in Tri Cities. To hit almost 90 degrees and be as humid as it was. I can believe when the weather is saying for this upcoming week that we're going to have thunderstorms basically every single day. I believe it, and they're not going to be tiny thunderstorms. Just waiting to see if I have a few more people come in tonight. Just yes, Penten. That's exactly where I am. Is Kingsport. Miss Justice, thank you for coming out. Alicia Powell, thank you very much. Alicia, we all feel that way. Nope, we all feel this way. Grab the wrong one. And thank you, Miss Justice. I appreciate that. Just this is Miss Justice. Even though I don't have you in the which I actually got to do is sit down and email you to get you into the chat with Carrie and cosplay. It's just the four of us. It's nothing formal. That way we can, if there's anything we need to talk about privately for mods and myself, we can. Um, so I'll be emailing you, if not tonight, tomorrow. If I remember your email. Yes, we all want summer found. Again, that's the whole. That's a premise that I sit on with this channel. If it's not rescue, it or at least recovery, so we can begin to know and understand what happened to Summer. But I want to start with a little announcement that nobody knows. I'm actually springing this on Carrie and cosplay at the same time. I started a backup. Really, it's a tertiary channel for on YouTube, and this channel is going to be a little bit different. Don't worry about the secondary channel. That is just a backup channel for me. It's just if I create something like I did with Uvalde, Texas mass shooting or anything like that, it's where I put it so I have access to it in a timely manner that for it to play on this channel. So don't worry about it being a secondary channel. This channel, because a lot of people have actually asked me and know I have a little bit of a background with a topic that some people don't like being talked about associated with true crime or anything like that. It has always been a plan of mine to have this channel And you are welcome to join it. It's not ready and up running yet. I just started this today. So it's not like there's any posting on there or anything like that. Bear with me one moment. There's no videos on it at this time. I apologize, folks. I apologize. I'm opening up a different browser here for a second. Make sure I copy this link right. I apologize. Okay, maybe I don't have that channel yet. Bear with me a moment here. Okay, we're going to come back to this, but once I get it straightened out, because YouTube was all of a sudden saying there's an issue, it didn't create this channel. I'm starting a channel that is going to be for topics that intrigue me. I'll put it that way. That aren't related to missing kids. And apparently Google has said that this kid cannot. Okay, wow. Okay. Thank you, Google, for telling me it created it and then tells me it's suspended. Anyway, I will be starting a channel that is for paranormal discussions, and eventually I am going to be going into doing paranormal investigations, and I will be doing videos and posting videos based on that in there. Or on that channel, but I will, since it's Google saying it can't set up that channel right this minute, I'll figure out why, and in the next few days I will be getting that corrected. No, I have not personally looked into the Redmonds. Hello, Linda Wilson, thank you very much. God's Girl, thank you very much. Honeybee, Honeycomb, yes, that will be something that will be on that the tertiary channel. That I'm making that announcement now, since it's not a lot of people that are into true crime, especially with missing kids and things like that. They don't like that, so I am going to separate that and have that be a separate channel. That way, when I do go into doing investigations and things like that, I have a place to put that information out for public if people want, or if people or places will let me. The Redmonds seem to be, from what I know of them, they seem to be squeaky clean, very quiet, and they want the neighborhood to be very quiet. They're an older couple, and they don't want things disturbing their birds. Basically, what it is, and the high amount of traffic that had been going up and down that street had been disturbing the birds. Renegade, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you doing so, and thank you very much. Thank you, Trev Time. I appreciate that. Honeybee Honeycomb, I hope you feel better. I hope that crick in your neck goes away. Some neck rolls, move your head around might just help, like in a circular motion. It might help some. Great to hear that, Honeycomb. Amy King, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate that. I appreciate the wishes for Father's Day. Well, okay. So Katrina Rosova, you're asking a good question here. So I'm going to go highlight there. What do I think about all the recent drug arrests? Honestly, no disrespect to Fred Hill or anybody else, to Dudley Ajan. No offense to him either. But at the same time, this is a good thing. With all the other things that are going on, like fentanyl and all those other stuff that are going through the area, that go through here, and you hear about busts related to them. I personally feel the same way I said about Dudley. The law right now is trying to keep witnesses safe. It's my opinion as of right now, with the information we know, that might change. But the law, they have to keep the witnesses safe. That way, if whoever gets charged, if Hawkins County is correct that there's going to be charges and announcements soon, they've got to keep them safe and make sure that they have the witnesses, the key witnesses, to pursue every aspect in the legal system. So it damages those persons a little bit by having these charges. However, the information they may know or may have seen about Summer is that much more important. Okay, so Fred Hill, I don't know about Dudley. I've not looked into Dudley, to be honest. Fred Hill, if you watched Ziggy, I think it was last night or the other night, it appears that this is a charge that is coming from the grand jury. The original date on the charges was actually in November, or the original charges from November, and there's apparently one more, possibly two more additional that have come out through an investigation. They present it to the grand jury, and it has the charges date. The date of the charges are actually 6/1. So it's possible, and I'm not saying that is the absolute answer. I'm saying it's possible that these are coming from the grand jury. Right. Yeah. Trevor, and I agree with that. He dug his own hole in that one, but I was going with just it says I don't know about the DV and the theft charges. I was pretty much just going with what I understood about the charges related to his drug arrest recently. So we are going to talk about tonight about 3 different missing kids cases. One is kind of like an overview because it has been brought up a lot recently with Summerwell's name. Amy King is very possible, but we're going to come back. We'll circle around to that. We're going to start tonight with talking about a little girl that we've talked about a few times on this channel, and it's actually a story that keeps getting twisted up and in with Summer Wells. And bear with me 1 second here. So we're going to mention Evelyn Boswell. Is anybody familiar with her story or what really happened with her? A lot of people have been bringing her, usually around the anniversary date for Summer Wells, Evelyn Boswell gets brought up. Bomb Patrol, thank you very much for coming out. I didn't see your name before. Okay, good. Yeah, because it's a name. Evelyn Boswell gets twisted up with Summer Wells somehow for some reason, and because they're regionally close. Awesome, Trev Time. Thank you very much for doing that. So the short of the story about Evelyn Boswell is unfortunately not her short life. In fact, I'm forgetting how long she was lived for. Bear with me 1 second. Evelyn Boswell, 15 months old. She was found in 2020 after her mom basically tried to follow what Casey Anthony had done. If you remember that story out of Florida, where she decided all of a sudden that she didn't want to have a little kid anymore, a toddler anymore, and she decided that she was going to bury her kid into and abandon her kid in a shed full of toys. For those who don't know who I'm speaking of, bear with me 1 second here. Folks, be ready to have your heart broken tonight. I apologize. I forgot. I should have said that earlier. We're going to actually talk about another child in a little bit here, or start talking about another child in a little bit here that's also going to break your heart. So if you need a moment to go ahead and get tissues, go ahead and take that moment now. This is Evelyn Boswell. 15 months old when she was last seen in December 2019, found on February 18th, 2020. She was found at her maternal Boswell's Boswell, her mom, maternal grandfather, and Evelyn's great grandfather uh, is where they found her on her on in a shed on his property. And this is in Blunttville, Tennessee. If those aren't familiar, that's if you imagine the Tri-Cities area being an upside down triangle or a triangle on one of its points. And the northeast side of it will be Bristol. On the northwest side of it is Kingsport, and the south side of it is Johnson City. Above Johnson City would be on your route towards the Bristol side. You're going to go through Gray and then into Blunttville. On the more towards the center of where the triangle is in Blunttville is where the grandfather had a nice sized chunk of property that I believe he used for farming. I don't see that on here, but he owned a nice sized piece of property. And in one of the sheds that were on the property is where she was buried under a pile or in amongst a pile of stuffed animals. So it basically, and how they caught the mom is that she consistently told inaccurate stories, and they kept shifting and changing. Like literally, she would go into the prosecutor's office and have an interview with them, then go outside and have a press conference and told a complete different story. I mean, it wasn't even close. It was a complete different story. So the mom right now is under charges of charges along the lines of she did get charged with first degree murder, but originally she was arrested for the charges of lying to the police, interfering with the police investigation, all those kinds of charges. Hello, Kathy K. Thank you for coming out. Mimi Jean, I think I said hi to you. If not, I apologize. Mimi 6, same to you. Hello, how are you? Yes, she was a pathological liar, and she knew exactly what she was doing. Well, that's the thing, honeybee, is that there isn't any. I have done a couple videos, not mainly on her, but enough of her story that I've been following it since I was living in North Carolina when it happened, before I moved to Tennessee or back to Tennessee. Canadian Cookie, thank you very much. Come out. Exactly, Trevor. Thank you. Yes, exactly. Sheriff Cassidy did not play when they realized what was going on. They locked her up as soon as they possibly could. Hello, Odd One. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's if you like I said, if you remember what happened with Casey Anthony down in Florida, what Megan Boswell had done is a variation of that. Like she tried to take almost the exact same playbook. Somebody took my kid. My kid is with my father or her father down in Texas. Tried to blame the father down in Texas who was on the military base for coming up to Tennessee and kidnapping her. Tried to blame it on a fictitious babysitter. Almost the same exact playbook. That's why I have a video on my channel saying from Casey Anthony to Summer Wells, where does Evelyn Boswell fit in? Some of the same stories and some of the same shifting of a story and constantly changing and evolving the story has been in both those cases. And they're a bridge to find out to try how to deceive the law enforcement in an investigation involving a child. Guys, I appreciate the Father's Day wishes. I really do. I apologize I'm not responding to each and every single one of them. No, the father was not involved at all. He was actually on duty on a military base in Texas. And when they got questioned or asked to talk to him, when they realized he wasn't involved, they did him a favor and told him he couldn't leave the base and put him on duty like 24/7, is my understanding. They already knew and eliminated that he wasn't part of this, so they kept him busy on the base. Hello, Chloe J. Thank you very much for coming out. Alicia P. That's exactly right. The truth doesn't ever change. The truth never minds being questioned. A lie does. And that's how they caught Megan. Megan being the mom of this sweet, innocent, tiny, precious. You could just look in her eyes, look at the photo, look at her eyes in this photo, and you could tell she was nothing but a little angel, a complete doll. Yes, Honeybee's Honeycomb Honey Hideout. He had absolutely zero involvement. He had absolutely zero involvement, no knowledge of the situation, nothing. He has come out and made statements, and made some statements through a lawyer about what happened, and that he wished to have some time without any media or anything like that. And the media has left him alone. Just so he can mourn and be in contact with family on both sides and find out what's going on to be able to mourn. Absolutely, Alicia P. She was absolutely adorable. She was, I believe I called her, and I referred to her very early on as just a little princess. There's a couple of videos, and I'm not playing them because it's tied to WJHL and the media sources that will strike channels. But if you go on them and type up go WJHL, there is a section on there for Justice for Evelyn. Thank you, Brett Girl. I really do appreciate you coming in and saying that. But oh, Canadian Cookie, hang on. We're going to get a lot deeper and darker at the end of this, because we're going to go back in time and we're going to start talking about a case that's actually going to land up us talking with the mom of a case that we're going to mention in a few moments, in a little bit here. Not tonight, but in the future, we're actually going to be speaking with the mom, I believe, directly on a live. So this absolute sweetheart, little princess. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what she was. She was just a little angel. Evelyn Boswell is the one case, the one case that I started, so to speak, hang my hat on as far as talking about missing kids. Carrie and Cosplay know the channel that I'm saying when I say that there was a channel that I used to go on regularly. Wasn't my channel, but we would talk about missing persons and missing cases. And I don't know if Cosplay had seen it or not, but I know Carrie definitely has seen it. I was an emotional mess talking about and giving the full story of what happened to Evelyn Boswell. Bailey, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming out. I literally had to walk away and go wash my face, so to speak, because just to cool off and calm down, because what happened to Evelyn should never have happened or had the opportunity to happen to a little kid. 15 months old, and we never got to know her personality. She was just at the age that her family was starting to see her personality. You know, they say that the terrible twos are the worst time a child in raising a child. But that's because we are starting to see, and they're starting to develop who they are. They're starting to learn. They're starting to ask questions to learn. It's no longer the age they play with toys to learn. So the age they start to do more and more cognitive development. Nobody had the opportunity to know who she would be. I know a lot of people say that when a person meets their demise, it's their time. But 15 months old, that should never be anybody's time. I saw somebody mention earlier in the chat that this is going to be until we're not going to know anything or have a trial until 2025. It's not that the prosecutor is not ready. The prosecutor is more than ready to move forward. It's over 2,000 documents, photos, and pieces of information that the judge has been going through and has to continue to go through to make rulings on if this is admissible for court, if this is something that is to be made public, or if this is information that only can be brought up in like in closing statements, or if Megan is found guilty. We do believe anybody and everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But the more information that comes out to it, it seems like that Megan would be found guilty. Megan is now on her second or third lawyer because the lawyers won't do what she says that she wants done. They had a motion recently, and when I say recently, it's been within the past month. I didn't cover it. That Megan wants to be able to wear street clothes in the courtroom for pretrial hearings. And this is the kind of thing that Megan is doing, just to give you an example, and trying to cause delays and everything else. That she's putting out motions with or without her lawyer. That's they have to keep calling her into court to make rulings on the motions. This one is that she wants to be able to wear street clothes. But girl, I will answer that in just a moment. And the judge said at this point in the trial, there is no reason for her to be able to wear the street clothes. There's no presumption or appearance of being guilty by her wearing prison garb or garments. and being in shackles. And that when the trial comes, if it does come to a trial, that she will be able to wear street clothing. Appropriate street clothing, of course. There's been other things that she's trying to do to stall and delay and cause problems. Like I was mentioning, this is either the second or the third lawyer that she's going through. One of the lawyers, from my understanding, was encouraging her to take a plea. And she doesn't want anything to do with that. She actually believes that she's going to be found not guilty. Yes, that girl. There is an issue. In my impression, purely my opinion and impression, that if this lawyer does not work out, that they're going to have to, that they're not going to assign another public defender, that she's going to have to get a lawyer, pay by the hour lawyer to defend her. They're not going to let her defend herself. They want this to be button tight. You're not going to see a what's his name, Brooks, out of Wisconsin, pull the stunts that he did here in Tennessee. In this case, blank. You're exactly right. There's a video, like I said, on I think it's WGHL or WCYB. The grandparents had given them to use, and it was of Evelyn taking basically her first steps, and she was going to, or was just, it's early on in her walking, and you can tell it's early on in her walking. And you can see the pure excitement in her face when she sees grandma and does her best to try to run to grandma. Folks, when you look at this story, if you investigate the story on your own, keep in mind that grandma is not guilty of what Megan tried to accuse her mom of. Her mom and her boyfriend had their own legal issues. They've dealt with them. And their legal issues stem from being accused of having Evelyn and leaving the state and doing something illegal with her. And I'm not getting into those details that Megan accused her of. Hello, Kimmy. How are you doing? Thank you for coming out. Yes, Pen 1010. There is one important thing that has come and that changed Tennessee completely on how missing children are reported. It is actually called Megan's Law. Or it's referred to as being Evelyn's Law. My apologies. I'm thinking of Megan. Megan, I believe she's from Pennsylvania. It's where the Amber Alert started from and things like that. Evelyn's Law. It used to be that there was not a time frame that a missing child had to be reported on. Because of Evelyn's Law and the fact that Megan did not report Evelyn missing for almost a month, that is now statutorily held, a statutory law that is that a missing child has to be reported within 24 hours. A minor child missing has to be reported within 24 hours. Otherwise, they automatically, if it's more than 24 hours in Tennessee, they will automatically lock the parents up. And if you're following the story out of Memphis, I don't remember her name. I forgot. If anybody knows it, please put it in the chat. I don't remember the name off the top of my head. The little girl that was found deceased, and she was on a feeding tube. If you know her name, please go ahead and put her name in the chat. Everybody keep in mind, it's why her parents and her mother and her mother's boyfriend immediately got arrested when they realized it was that she was actually missing for about 3 weeks. Yes, that's the name. Thank you very much. Yes, that's the full name. Thank you very much. Both Teresa Nelson and Marie Davis, thank you very much. Memphis, Tennessee, exactly. It's exactly why that those parents were arrested immediately when they realized it was 3 weeks when they reported the child missing. There's no question, ifs, ands, or buts. That law says the parents get arrested and put in jail, and the information gets handed over to the public defense, the public prosecutor, and they press charges from there. That was the law that was passed because of this sweet little baby girl. Yes, Alicia. Yes, exactly. Apologize, folks. I'm just reading the chat, catching up with you guys for a moment. I appreciate your patience with me. See if there's any questions or anything about Evelyn Boswell that I've missed. When I say that the parent, Evelyn's grandma and her boyfriend had their own issues, legal issues, it's nowhere near the length or the terms or the extent that you're hearing when you talk about Summer Wells. There was something to do involving the car that they were in, and I don't remember what the charges were. They were caught in North Carolina. Apologies, just taking a sip of water. Yes. That is where nope. Thank you very much for asking that. That is where the grandfather's property actually was. Is not right down the road from Sherfy Jr., where Sherfy Jr. was staying at the time. But Sherfy Jr. does the Sherfys and what happened to Summer don't really seem to be connected other than the regional. And And even though you may say this is too much of a coincidence, I really believe it is just a coincidence that they have commonality, that story commonality that ties. You can look back at what happened with Casey Anthony, and say, hey, look, that looks oddly familiar with what these two girls had gone through as well. I really, in my heart, I really believe that it's a variation of the story, but there's no real tangible connection. Yes, no, nope. That's exactly what I'm meaning. Vet girl, do you mean are you referring to the sheriff he was out searching? Yeah, it is said that Sheriff Jr. was out searching, in and around the wooded areas and around the grandfather's property, um, on foot searching. I actually had not heard that. I'll have to look into that more. So, why did I say we're also going to talk about? We're not. Basically, I wanted to just do a recap on Evelyn Boswell of what happened, if for anybody that hadn't heard it, because her name had been getting brought up in this past week, with it being Summer's 2-year mark. And the reason that it had been found out so soon, so quick with Evelyn, is that it became abhorrently obvious that her mother had everything to do with this. Where her story was shifting so badly. Whereas, like, Don Wells has taken, for just give you one piece of information, has taken 2 years to shift in some instances. Like, he went from saying that he beat the cops back to the property to being that he that to that he was to about a year ago, he said that a cop had beat him back to the property. It's probably closer to 8 months ago. And this past week, when he did an interview with WJHL, he said that two police officers were at the property before he could get back. Where Megan Boswell's story so quickly shifted, Don Wells keeps shifting and changing his story. And now with them attempting to move to Arkansas, exactly, Vic Girl, and that's what I was saying. He said he beat the police back to the 110 Ben Hill Road from his job site. from where he was working, to about a year ago, he said that one police officer beat him there, and now it's changed to two. I remember him saying that as well, that there was no police that beat him there. It's unimaginable. If you go back and look at day one of what Don Wells has said, and I firmly, even though other channels don't want to 100% agree with me, and I'm not calling any channels out, I'm not trying to call any channels out. I firmly believe the end result is still going to be the same. Again, with the saying that no, we do not believe that anybody is guilty until the court of law proves it. I still can't help but to get to the feeling that there's going to be charges brought related to Summer on her parents. They have told too many lies. And I believe what somebody said to me the other day is that they're stacking these charges. Every single time they make a comment, the police are noticing. The TBI, the Hawkins County, they're noticing every single shift in the story. We just passed the 2-year anniversary mark for Summer Wells. We're Summer 1-800 TBI fine. Thank you very much for coming out. My gut instinct is that it's going to be very swift. Once they decide to make that next step, if they have enough to charge people. Kate, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Teresa Nelson, if you believe that H was not a normal, although there's a lot of stories that float around saying there was illegal involvements between teenagers and Candace. Kate, I knew what you meant. Don't worry. That is a possible connection because you don't only have H, but you have Allie, who had been separated themselves for a while, and then all of a sudden just pop up in their doorstep, basically. So that is a possibility. You have that connection through H and Allie that that had not been a normal for a while. Lisa Kluckner, thank you very much. I still believe that this is going to go through a grand jury indictment. Doesn't mean that it's going to be grand jury, the next grand jury they call. I believe that the charges, when they finally do come down, are going to be true bill charges. which is why I was kind of like mentioning we were talking about excuse me, Fred Hill. It looks like it possibly the charges would have been from the grand jury. Bear with me 1 second here. I apologize for not speaking for the moment. What I'm doing is pulling up some information so you all can see what I'm speaking of. Fred Hill's name is Fred Jr. Hill. Why do I want to keep typing Frank? This is Vine Link. If anybody doesn't know what it is, you can look up whether somebody's in custody or what status they are for it and being in custody. This is Fred Hill's listing for being in custody. Going to make this a little bit bigger, hopefully. That way you guys can see this. Bear with me just a moment here. He's still in custody. His custody date was June 13th. Okay, we see where that all is. This is actually not the website that I was looking for. I don't remember the website. The website listing is, however, I think it's actually an app, so I can't pull that information up. The charges, if I could pull that other information up, it says that the charge date for was June 1st, which coincidentally was the grand jury date. But he has been in custody and still in custody since June 13th. Right. Where some are when they had to be fined. This is kind of what the point why I'm bringing this information up about Fred Hill. You know, he was arrested on June 13th, but if you look at where the charges are, you can find where the charges were originally from. It looks like they potentially came down as being part of the grand jury indictments or true bills. Fun to ski. Thank you very much for coming out. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean 100% that information is right. It could be coincidental that charges were filed following up an investigation on June 1st as well. But this is one situation where I don't believe it would be a coincidence. Thank you, Honeybee, Honeycomb. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I think you were meaning that to be a compliment. But we can't forget that CP cosplay is a huge part of that. Even though she's not here or was here earlier and had to step away, she is a big part of the my mods and making sure that the chat runs smoothly and it keeps an eye on what is going on. When if I get busy with a point or into a point, that I focus only on that for a moment. So please don't forget, cosplay is a big part of that. Blank, that is a possibility. That's why I'm saying it is possible that that has nothing to do with the grand jury and it's just coincidental for when the charges were dropped. The other website, the app version that I had seen on another channel, it was actually Ziggy. That the original offense date was listed in November, but charges were not brought until 6/1. So there was actually quite a lengthy investigation going on. Sorry, folks. Just getting some into my ice water here. Sorry. She was here earlier. She just has some. It's a busy time for a year for her right now, with her kids and whatnot, with sports. Um, but she has actually some great news. One of these times, she'll when she wants to tell, she'll be able to tell. Her one of her kids had just recently made a huge accomplishment, and I'll let that actually for her to tell sometime. So she's just busy with sports right now, and so okay, I'm really not focusing a lot on Summer Wells tonight. With the description I put out there of this channel, there's a show tonight. There is going to be a more open time, panel time where anybody can join. We can talk more widely about Summer Wells, folks. I don't want you to go and leave because I'm changing the topic away from Summer Wells, and it was not a setup for you to come here saying, "Ooh, Summer Wells." We will talk more about Summer Wells. I want to get into another another child case of a child, and then we're really going to once we do that, we're going to turn it over. Like I said, open mic time. If anybody wants to join me, you're welcome to do so. It's going to be more lighthearted, more conversation type of time, but we can talk about Summer Wells. There is a little boy. And like I said, I hope you all have tissues because this is going to be the photo is going to steal your heart. This little boy's name is Dennis Vaughn Jr. Goes by the nickname of Boo. I want you to take a look at this picture. And then we'll get into the conversation of why we're going to take a look at this what happened to this little boy. This is Dennis Boo Vaughn. I apologize if I mispronounce this town. I believe it's pronounced Laconia in New Hampshire. He lived in Laconia, New Hampshire. Apologize. I was answering something behind the scenes there. He was 5 years old and went missing around the same time as I'm drawing a mental blank on her name. Bear with me 1 second. The little girl that was missing out of I think it's Manchester, New Hampshire. National story. Harmony Montgomery is the name I'm trying to come up with. Went missing. What happened to him happened around the same time as Harmony. I'm going to be honest with you, folks. This story does involve, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the mom. I'm putting this out there on Front Street because you all need to know what had that we're going to be talking about when we talk about this. I'm going to ask the mom, if when I do have opportunity to talk to her, to be candid about her personal life and why that he was in the custody of CPS, or up there they call it DIFUS, Family Child Services, whatever you want to call it, CPS in general. That's what they call it here in Tennessee. So if I refer to it, I'm actually referring, they go by a different name in New Hampshire. There is a history of drug use by the mom, and why her children, her 4 children, landed up in CPS, or foster care system, and eventually was turned over to being in the custody of his grandmom. Hello, Dumpling. Thank you very much for coming out. Please, appreciate your patience. Appreciate you doing so tonight. So I am going to actually ask, when I do to speak to her mom, his mom, to be candid about that, to be upfront and honest about that, because doing so, and that she's actually on the road to recovery. When you deal with substance abuse, you never leave that road to recovery. That she is actually doing well. She's not been on any sort of substances since. No, this little boy did not go missing in her care. This little boy did not go missing at all. This little boy, cause of death is homicide. She has records with her lawyer from all the stories that I've seen so far, that she has with her lawyer cases and reports and instances where not only herself, but the teachers at the school that he went to and their other siblings went to, saying that there is a possible abuse issue. And that she was trying to get the custody of from what I've read so far. And if I'm wrong on this, I may have overlooked some information, because I only started really looking into this last night. I was handed gas to look into it the other night. I really started seriously looking into this last night. It appears that there is from grandma. It's possible it was from grandma or somebody that was allowed in grandma's house. Mom has the copies of reports with the CPS from not only herself, but from the school. She has a lawyer. She is trying to get CPS or the prosecutor's office and the state. She's been in touch with everybody and everybody possible, everybody and anybody possible, going all the way up to the governor. She has since gone ahead and with her lawyer filed a lawsuit against the state of New Hampshire and CPS because their inaction to investigate may have contributed to this little boy meeting his demise. Absolutely adorable looking little boy. Another story of a child that should not have had met their demise at 5 years old. This story is a couple years old. And the reason, thank you, Carrie, for putting that up so I can read it. This content and discussion may include sensitive topics such as SADV, violent behavior, and abuse. We support and stand by all victims. When I say we stand beside them, we truly stand beside them. We will truly stand beside you. When you're a victim of any one of those things or the combinations of those things, you need people to lean on to help hold you strong as you go through a journey through that nobody should have to go through. Just like this little boy, 5 years old, should have never met his demise if it were to be abuse. And I'll be honest, the things that I've read so far sound like it was. There's no real reason for a 5-year-old little boy to have multiple skull fractures. I cannot promise anybody that this is not going to be a very disturbing story. In fact, I would promise the other way around. It's going to be a disturbing story. It was a 911 call on Christmas Eve because the boy had collapsed. Just as much of that story coming out of Ohio that happened this past week and how disturbing that is, I honestly do have a feeling that this is going to be a story that is equally disturbing because it involves a family member, potentially a family member doing this to a child in their family. Janice Contrell, thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate you being here. I know you said you'd be back later, but I still appreciate you being here. The only quote that the governor of New Hampshire has been able to give or willing to give is that he understands that this is a very tragic situation, the loss of a child, and that because there is a lawsuit against the state, he can't comment beyond that. Not that there's an investigation of the CPS or whatever they call it system up there. Because they did not act on reports. Oh, dear goodness. Vet girl. Oh, my goodness. Vet girl. Zav Girl had done a report on this earlier today. Crime Lines and Lies also did a report on this the other day where they showed the body cam footage. And it is there's areas on that footage that is redacted or blocked out that you can't see. But a dad, and this tragedy would have been far worse if it wasn't for his stepdaughter, I believe. A dad shot and killed his 3 boys. His stepdaughter was able to get away, and practically across the street, catty corner from the property they were on, is a fire station. Yes, Fontiski, thank you very much. She was able to escape and get to the fire station and tell them what was going on. Ages 3, 4, and 7 is exactly right. Martha Larrabee, I'm not worried about what's said in the chat. You're fine. He even shot, pew-pewed, whatever you want to call it, the mom of the 3 boys in the hand. Apparently, one of the boys had decided to follow the stepsister. The dad went and grabbed him, pulled the boy back to the property, and fired his pew-pew again. Then returned to the front cement steps of his property and sat there and waited for the police as he sat there watching his boys meet their demise. I'm not trying to sound all depressed. I'm actually trying to censor what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be careful about what I say. But if you want to see the body camera footage from the police, I encourage you to go either watch Crime Lines and Live if you're part of her community. I believe she did a members only on that, and Zav Girl today did a member, not a members only, but a video for anybody to see today. And unsure of what his motive was. It's they're still investigating this, to be honest. Thank you, Carrie, for posting a link to that in the chat. I appreciate that. So if you want, I'm going to pin that to the top so anybody can go and take a look at that. or mark that just so anybody can see it's there, and grab that and watch it later. I'm actually going to step away and mute myself for just a moment. I apologize, folks. Bear with me just about a moment or two. I appreciate your patience with me. Folks, I wasn't going to do this. I normally don't do this, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the body cam footage. So we were talking about it from the arrest. This is just the arrest. You are not going to see anything from about the boys. Like I said, this is just the body cam footage from the police. It takes about 4 minutes, 29 seconds. A trigger warning. If I understand if anybody needs to stay away, you walk away, give me 5 minutes and come back. I understand. But since everybody was asking, I'm going to go ahead and play it. And this is from WPDE ABC 15. So I will be putting a link to that in the chat. And I hope they don't mind that I'm playing this video. It's they own the rights to this video since actually nobody owns the rights to this video. I'm just using their file footage for this since this was from body cam footage. This happened on June 15th this year.
Where's he at?
He said, shooter's on the porch.
Get him right here. You got him on the porch.
We've asked, that's the last place we've been told.
You show me your hands now! Stand up and walk towards us! Stand up now! Walk towards us! Stand up with your hands!
not following commands.
Stand up
I'm
now!
not showing hands, so we're following commands. His name is Chad Dorman. Chad Dorman.
I know, but we can't.
If you're going to need first aid and he's not complying, and you know he's a shooter, shoot him.
We gotta find cover first. We ain't no good if we ain't safe ourselves. Hey, no. We need to come from this side where we can see them. Don't take cover behind her. We see them. We're going to approach from this side. We got cover. Right here.
6 number 29 and 63 attack that.
Show us your fucking hands now! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up! Stand up now! Stand up! Stand the fuck up!
EMS to stage and air clear to go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands out of here. Cover 21. It's in there.
Those guys can confirm that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter who's not complying. They need to take care of the
I got it.
victims. They have to shoot him and shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs a day
63,
in my
we're
life.
21. Get the EMS over here.
Well, I did drugs with a flip, but I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you. Yellen,
63.
get your butt inside. Yellen, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
29, we got 3 kids down.
3 kids down, 16 feet up.
Yellen.
63, we're 21.
Knock
Have
it off.
EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised.
Robert 34, just started mass casualty response.
63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need them?
We're right in the front yard. What are you doing, man?
Hey, pretty copy all this.
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt
You
nobody.
got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it. I ain't mad. I ain't nothing. Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him. He won't bite you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm gonna
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't running
second.
away. You can do whatever you want.
Here. You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yeah.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
Listen, look.
We continue here at the top of the hour with the murder.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize to anybody that it was sensitive to that. I appreciate you bearing with me to play that information. I wasn't planning on doing so, but I felt it was important to do so. Canadian Cookie, it is absolutely horrifying. I feel there are no words. There are simply no words. I've been thanking everybody for wishing me a happy Father's Day, and because of circumstances beyond my control, or at least I believe they were beyond my control, I wasn't able to be there to be the parent or the dad to my son that he deserved out of me. I apologize if the video had strong language. And of course, we were, as Miss Justice and Carrie were putting up in the chat earlier. We are covering under copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowances made for fair use for purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. It's body cam footage, it's public information. The source I used was from a website, from a news site. I don't take any credit for it being my original or anything like that, but it is covered by fair use. Who said what? Thank you for coming out. I don't pretend that I was a good father or a great father or anything like that. And forgive me if I use strong language here, because there really is, it breaks my heart. It seriously breaks my heart that this man, this so-called man, the week before, within a week of Father's Day, no emotion whatsoever, not a care in the world of what he just did, not even trying to fake a story of what the hell did I just do? I can't believe I just fucked up. So cold and calculated, sat there and waited for the police to come and didn't resist. To sit there and say, you could do whatever you need to do, man. I'm not going to run. And the heartbreaking thing is you hear the mom in the background going, what did you do? You just took my life. BB Diamond, thank you for coming out tonight. You're exactly right. That is what a report says, that he had been planning this for months. Van Lady, thank you very much for coming out. I appreciate you doing so. It kills me. Not related, not nothing. When I say these stories about kids and the stupid acts of adults break my heart. I'm serious that this breaks my heart. 3, 4, and 7-year-old. No, BB Diamond, you're right. She won't. She'll always be broken. We still don't know. because he turned himself, he sat there and waited for custody and waited for the police to come and waited for the police to arrest him like it was nothing. We don't know. These stories seriously break my heart. People say, people that cover stories about kids and tragedies and 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 missing kids and stories like Summer Wells, story like Michael Vaughn and Dennis Vaughn, as we're going to get into. And beyond tonight, I don't think I'm going to touch the story again about these three boys because I just don't think my heart can take it. They call us tragedy pimps that sit there and talk about these kids. I'm not a tragedy pimp. I don't sit there and talk about kids to make money. That's why you never see a Cash App. My channel will never be monetized. I know I say that almost every single stream, but I feel that it's important to understand my viewpoint. And this is not criticism on somebody that makes that goes ahead and talks about tragedies befalling to a kid. It's their personal decision and not mine. Can't help but to sit there and think that somebody has to be a voice. Somebody has to tell the story and do so in a justly way, fair way. And that's what I try to do. Once I figure out what the story is with the other channel and get that all situated and corrected and worked out, I will go ahead and there may be a time where I monetize that channel, but not on a channel that I talk about missing kids or tragedies, serious tragedies that happen to a kid that they don't deserve to have met. That'll never happen. Carrie's right. Carrie and I and cosplay, we've talked about it. This is not just a decision of because my job. This decision is because I don't feel that it's right for myself to do. It'd be easier to say I wish that I could wish I understand the mentality of why people do this. But to be honest, I don't want to know. Because then I fear that I would go after the parents that did this. Try to. Hello, Oreo. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. And that would not be a good thing for myself. The man above, you posted on this on here a little while ago, and I couldn't pay attention to it because I was in the middle of that video. But I want to thank you very much for the congratulations on 900. Appreciate that very, very much. Hey, Huntress, you're fine. Yeah, glad you could come out. That goes for every single case that we talk about myself saying that I want to understand what happened, but I never want to understand the mentality of why somebody would do that, because it would just infuriate me. I promised that I was going to go ahead and drop a link to for anybody to join tonight. Welcome to come up and jump on panel. Say hi, talk for a while, talk about the cases that we did talk about tonight. And here is the link for that. As soon as I get it to allow me to paste it. It's now pinned at the top if anybody wishes to join. Don't feel that there's any pressure that you have to join or anything like that. It's just open for anybody to do so. I really didn't have much planned but to come on here and talk about cases that we followed in the past, going to be following present, and will be following in the future, talking about in the future. I'm going to try to get it to be, once I get that other channel corrected and get that going, where I will be live 3 times a week. I'm going to dedicate to this channel three nights a week, Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And what's going to happen is that Summer Wells will probably be talked about at least once a week, probably twice a week. And then the third night of the week, when I'm live, is we're going to start with the story about Dennis Vaughn. The reason I was mentioning him and give you a little bit of background what's going on with him is that his mom is tired of the inaction of the state of New Hampshire and wants to carefully and with I believe it's going to be involving the lawyer guiding her what she can and cannot say. So there are going to be questions that we want to answer or ask, and we will ask them, but we'll respect that if she says that she can't answer because her lawyer says not to answer. But the state of New Hampshire needs to start taking action on what happened to him. That happened to Dennis. I will be back on Tuesday night. I'm setting a schedule that it will be Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights, which is what I was trying to do originally, and I got way away from that. But I need to get back to doing that. Sundays and Tuesdays are probably going to be the same time. I try to work around with a couple of creators. So on Sunday nights, it might be because they have something going on John Q's channel that I might be on at like 6:30. But Tuesdays will be at the same time as tonight, 8:30, and then Thursday nights will be 8:45. Oh, honeybee, you're welcome to hold me that. I have requests from other creators that I have actually been working with recently. That I will be joining them occasionally, and likewise, they're welcome to come and join me at any time. I have a few creators that I really do enjoy talking with and working with. Oh, Huntress, thank you very much. Lisa Kleckner, yeah, talking about that story is gut wrenching. Vaughn, just like Michael Vaughn, just monkey, little monkey, Brandy's son. But a different state. This is New Hampshire, and that is Idaho. And Huntress, don't fool yourself. You do a good job with Dumpling. I know she was here a moment ago. If she's still around, you do a really good job with Dumpling, so don't kid yourself. Oscar the Panda, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I had a funny feeling you were lurking. That's why I called you out like that. If anybody has any questions about those 3 cases that I mentioned, or we were talking about, with 4 with the one video, if you want to ask me any questions, please, this is a good time to do so. I know I try to put a lot of information and answer any and all questions that pop up in my head when I'm preparing for this. Not that I write down every single word I say and script everything, but if questions pop in my head, I try to make sure I include an answer for them. I didn't mention, but I will mention now, Dennis Vaughn. It was December 24th, 2019. Or 2020. It's been a couple years now since he has passed away. What is my opinion about Chris Doerman, whatever his name is? He's another Chris Watts. Honestly, he's another Chris Watts. And if you don't know who Chris Watts is, he caused the demise of his 2 little girls and his pregnant wife in Aurora, Colorado. And if nobody ever heard or nobody's ever followed up on that story, or if they had been following that story and they lost track, that house was sold. The house was sold. It's just his cold, callous demeanor, that how he interacted with the police was like this was nothing, and you got me, and there's nothing I'm going to do. I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to resist. That reminds me of what happened with Chris Watts when he knew that he had him. He confessed to his dad. He told his dad that they were going to arrest him. He told his dad that he did it. And he saw no other way but to confess what he had done. Francisci, wow. I have no idea. Francisci, I have no idea. I just found out about this from crime by watching Crime Line and Lies, and found out a little bit more information today when I saw Zav Girl. I caught the headlines of him being charged officially with with all of his charges, and them setting a $20 million bail. Francisci, you'll be able to answer this then if since you were up the road from him, from that house. Is it correct that they actually changed the street name and the street numbering system for that name, that street? Well, it's like here in Tennessee, they have the that penalty on the books, but the current governor says that it is it's inhumane and they can't use it. One 800. We're Summer 1-800 TBFI. You and I alike. You and I alike. I don't go out of my way to try to, and have not done what other channels did to go out of their way to try to interview her. But what she did is heroic. To go through what she has been going through and turn around and make it to be a life mission to become an advocate for other missing kids, to get a law passed to help other missing kids, is nothing short of being heroic. I'm not really a political person. I am a political person, but I don't like to discuss that on YouTube. Well said, Miss Justice. Well, excuse me. Well said, Miss Justice. No. You, Kathy K, you did not bring up any harm. I'm just saying I understand your point. I don't make a political comment on YouTube. If you want, I do have a Discord. Carrie has been putting my email in the chat. If you want to become part of my Discord, I have no problems discussing that kind of thing a little bit more privately. But YouTube gets a little funny with certain topics, and I just try not to talk about it. Thank you, Carrie, for throwing my email up there. Yeah, Fun to Ski. I remember that being talked about, but I know they didn't tear down the house, and I know it's been resold. From what I understood, it was a very nice family that went in there, and once I get it worked out about that other channel fixed, which if I do for next time I'm live, I will definitely post that. So we'll bring that back up, but that involves a conversation is going to be on that other channel I was mentioning earlier tonight that I'm going to create. Hello, Rescue Me. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. Where Summer 1-800-TBI find, I fear a little bit less about talking about religion because I talk about it in the theology sense of the word. When it comes to talking about things related to a kid's demise or somebody bringing that up or things like that, or even questioning what religion I follow or what I would say I am as far as religion, I feel a little bit more easier talking about that than I do talking about politics. You know, it wasn't until Remember that, guys. This is an exact quote from Candace. It wasn't until that she considered how things were affecting her sons that she became emotionally invested. Excuse me, that's paraphrased, but that is what she said. It isn't until she considered how the boys were being affected that she became emotionally invested in what was going on. Just like in the last live we were on, we were talking about how we called before it even happened what her new channel was going to be about. And then the last time I was live, we had said that her own quote that she had said in another sentence, another chat, that she was not there. We are not here to talk about Summer. Defines everything that her new channel is about. They don't want to talk about Summer. Yeah, Carrie makes a great point here. That house is in a trust or some other land legal term that I don't know off the top of my head. But part of the inheritance that Don Wells got the property, it specifically says that his wife cannot profit from the sale of that property. That Candace cannot, and it doesn't say Candace specifically, it says his spouse cannot profit from the sale of the property. Meaning that it has to be handed on to the boys. Which boy, whoever, I don't know who would let, you're getting into a legal issue that I'm not going to get into with land disputes. But what it is that he cannot sell that property. He has got to pay the taxes on that property. Yep, there you go, Fantasky. That's the wording of it. Yeah, Betty Smith, we know. He owns it. Yep. Tim is not family. Tim is not related. Adoptionscans.com. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. So I'm standing by with what I've been saying all along about how it is easy for in Tennessee to get, if you're involved with CPS, and the CPS takes over the custody of your children, to get back your children. The statement I had made was that if you do what CPS says and mandates, and you meet, I would say about 90%, 85%, 90%, they'll go ahead and give you the boys, your children back. unless there's something serious. I mean, like mega serious else that's going on that they're investigating, which the wording of how the boys are held, there's an investigation. Sorry for the ice, folks. Hot, humid day. I drink a lot of water. And typically, in Tennessee, they like to see the family reunited by 18 months. If it goes to 24 months, which it will be in about 4 more weeks. Well, okay, let's make it 5. Hello, Juju Rabbit Hole. Thank you very much for coming out. Anybody is welcome. There's a link pinned at the top. You're more than welcome to click on that link and join me. What I was saying was that if it does get to the 2-year mark, which is about 4.5 more weeks away. Remember, it was about 5 to 6 weeks after the summer went missing, was reported missing, that the boys were taken away from the wells. That if at that point they're still in custody of the state, in my opinion, you can mark it as being they're going to get adopted. You also have the statement that is allegedly attributed to the boys as saying they don't want to come home. They don't want to be returned to the wells, their parents. At least for the oldest boy, the judge is going to take that into consideration. He's going to question the boy about why. What did he see? What does he know that was his reasoning for not wanting to be returned home? And if it's a solid reason, the judge may consider that for the other boys. Teresa Nelson, have a good night. I appreciate you coming out tonight. I'm not going to be too much longer anyway myself. So and if anybody wants to join me about another 15, 20 minutes or so, you're more than welcome to do so. Exactly, Baby Diamond. How bad were they really if they boys don't want to return home? Juju Rabbit Hole, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Very proud of where we've gotten so far as a channel. No, I don't think anybody's going to move to Ben Hill Road. Not until one of the boys are of age. If anybody doesn't know Juju's Rabbit Hole, she is an up-and-coming channel creator. I encourage anybody to go and check her channel out. She does true crime. And she talks about, and she's newly discovering Summer Wells. But she talks about a lot of other cases as well. You know, there's honeybee. I can't say I disagree. If you believe in Greek mythology, the River Nix has a lot of waterfront property. Wisconsin Mama, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Hey, Lorraine, how are you tonight? Nani or Seven, I know you were one of the people that encouraged me to take a look into Dennis. And I gave a very brief overview and a glimpse of where we're going with this, or where I'm looking to go with this. Is there anything else that you would suggest saying, just as like an overview and to be fair to the whole story itself? The whole circumstances that itself. Sammy Sparrow, thank you very much for coming out tonight. Okay. Well, no. I was more asking what I said tonight, with giving a little bit of a overview of what happened to Dennis, and a little bit of information about his mom. Was I unfair, or was I? Is there anything else you would like to add to that? I'm not saying going into the full details of what happened. I'm just saying the little bit of overview I gave tonight. Excuse me. Okay, good. Thank you. I wanted to make sure. I appreciate that. I agree. Excuse me for coughing. I agree. From what I've read so far, I agree. I think that the state needs to step up and do a major investigation of their CPS or FCYS, whatever it's called up there. Yeah, DCYF, Dice, yeah, Division of Child and Youth Family Services. Now, as much as Don Wells wants to sit there and scream and cry that CPS is making tons of money off of his kids, and no, the Tennessee has done amazing work for the boys. It's New Hampshire and what happened to Dennis that's been a failure, in my opinion. Hello, Prank Star Lion. Right, but I don't know the full circumstance of that Wisconsin mama, but Dennis was not in the care of the state. Dennis was in the care of his grandmother. If it turns out Don and Candace are the only responsible persons in what happened to Summer, I pray that they don't arrest them near each other. Don is declining rapidly, in my opinion. Uh, Lisa, with none disrespect, I understand your point where it's coming from. I only think that it's to try to gain more sympathy. I don't think that he's winding down or breaking down or anything like that. He has his emotional moments. And when I say he snaps and you see it online, it's only about 60 to 70% of his temper and his personality that you see. I very much mean that there's more there. Yeah. BB Diamond, you're exactly right. And please don't forget, anybody, please don't forget to hit that like button, the subscribe button, and the notification bell. That way you see what when I go live. But BB Diamond, I believe you're right. He continues to play games. He might have that emotional, like a rubber band snap. Not a break, a snap. It gets pulled taut and then all of a sudden let go. And all of that just all of a sudden comes out in a couple of days, just blah type of moment. But it's still only about 60 to 70% of who he is. Nani, absolutely. You and I were discussing on another channel that you are absolutely right. And we're gonna try to be let mom have a voice, advocate for her some, and we're going to try to hopefully get other channels involved in talking about Dennis. Oh, Juju Rabbit Hole, I mean it. You are a good creator and you're on the up and coming. So everybody, check her out and watch for when she goes live. Oreo, that is a possibility because we've pointed out that he is back to his old roots of being associated with deals, connecting people to dealers or whatever he's got to do to try to make a little money on the side instead of holding down another job or starting a little eBay sell business like some do for extra money or whatever. Some people do, or coming up with a little side gig or anything like that. You see that he goes back to what he knows, which is to be a runner. Loading YouTube plays. How are you doing tonight? Thank you very much for coming out and joining us. I was just asked a question. Let me see if I can find the question again. Lorraine asked me, when do you think all the they will do a new, or when do I think they will do a new press conference release on Summer's case? I have not a clue. You have TBI saying they have nothing. They just did a press release a few days ago on the 15th saying there's no new information, and the information they previously put out stands as they are investigating. That press release saying that there is no information or no indications of an abduction, all that kind of information. It stands that they stand on that still. Hello, rescue me if I didn't say hello to you before. No, Oreo, I was agreeing with you. I think if something's going to bring him down, it's going to be his own devices, his own addictions that is going to catch up to him. So I agree with you there. But I don't believe like when you see him have those big, huge reactions that it means anything. Right. So I can. Who said what? You're right. He did. They did report that, and that's coming from Hawkins County Sheriff's Office, and they're saying that they hope to have a update soon. In my opinion, that's a Pandora's box statement, where somebody opened Pandora's box and in this investigation they had to follow what was going on with Pandora's box being opened. And if you know what the mythical story about Pandora and the box being opened, the only thing that remains in Pandora's box is hope. So they're still keeping that in Pandora's box. They're still saying they hope that their information comes out to be right and they find out what happened soon and can have a press conference to tell everybody what happened. But I don't put it to them as they have found, or they have that they can say, we believe we're going to have a press conference in 3 days. I don't put it to them to that. I believe it's that Pandora's box. The only thing that remained hope, and they're holding on to hope. Trev time, you're right. We all hope that it's very soon. But again, there's that Pandora's box hope again. Until I see it, until I hear there is a bit of press conference being announced, and WJHL starts putting information that this press conference about Summer Wells, or all the news sites do the same thing, in the Tri-Cities area, and then it grows from there, of course. But until I start seeing that, it's just hope right now. You guys are welcome to have, again, anybody's welcome to go ahead and hit that the button at the top, that's pinned at the top. Yeah, I got creators in here that I like talking to, and nobody's joining me, but that's fine. Yeah, Carrie's got exactly what I feel is right. If they want to bring charges on just abuse and neglect, they're possibly not going to serve time for it. It's going to be a slap on the wrist and lose the custody of the boys. To them, that's not anything. That's going to be like, oh, okay, it's time for us to move again. They're stacking charges on somebody. I'm not saying who. I don't know who. I can only say I suspect. But it's somebody. Nani, thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting me up. I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
Doing great. Oh, we got Juju's Rabbit Hole is going to join us. Hello, Juju. Thank you.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I wasn't going to leave you up here by yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. I get used to that. I've gotten used to talking pretty much for my whole lives. But
I think sometimes we resist because we like hearing you just talking, and when we're up here, we interrupt you and you stop talking.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I can, please don't hesitate. I can actually, I can leave somebody backstage for a few moments if I'm in the middle of making a big point or something like that. But I get everybody, every creator, you ask any creator, whether they do a call in or they do like I did to invite you up with a link, it always helps. It really does.
Yeah. I prefer to have conversations rather than a lecture.
Exactly. And with it being, the 900 plus, going over 900, it's to a lot of others, to a lot of other channels, that's a small step, but to me, it's huge.
That's pretty big.
And I didn't want to nail myself down to just one topic. I kind of looking back at the past, looking current, you looking to the future. And Nani, thank you for the information and introducing me to what's going on with Dennis, because I 100% between you and Lorraine encouraging me to look at it. It's it definitely, I agree 100% that it needs attention.
It does. It really does.
For sure.
I feel that young woman, the mother, has been let down from the very start.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the children have been let down with all the calls in the school, the continuous calls from the schools, the continuous calls from the neighbors. There was so much red flags, and New Hampshire DCF, just like they failed Harmony, they failed Dennis. Just like they failed a lot
Sequoia.
Elijah Lewis. All of them are right in the same area. This is all New Hampshire. This is all the same CPS system that is failing all of these children. All of these children had multiple CPS DCYF calls. They had multiple calls from the schools. All of these children were living with family.
Is that my?
Nani, no, it's Nani. Nani, if you would go ahead and drop down and click on that link for StreamYard again. Your mic is crackling and people are complaining in the chat.
Okay.
I thought it was just me, so I was ignoring it, but people are saying so in the chat. So
right.
I'll bring you right back up.
Yep.
Well, hey, we got to quit meeting like this.
Well, you know.
But hey, we like talking about the same stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody's gotta.
There
Great
you go.
minds think alike.
There
right?
you go.
Juju, you were just mentioning Sequoia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just. Go ahead.
There is a law in Tennessee about that. What happened in Memphis that's going to land up the parents in more trouble than they're maybe aware of. I started off tonight talking about Evelyn Boswell. There was a law in Tennessee passed because of her about how long a parent has to report a missing child.
Mm-hmm.
They've gone way beyond 24 hours, which is what the law requires. So there's more legal issues there that they're under than they're aware of.
Oh yes, I completely agree with that. I was talking about the system failing Sequoia because she had an aunt that had reported Sequoia's mother to CPS, and she had pictures and video proof that Sequoia was being abused. Bruises on her body, her feet were black. She wasn't being taken care of. And when I was talking about her the other day on one of my lives, it was really upsetting because there you can see a video interview from the aunt that she said, I'll take her, I'll take care of her, I'll take everything, just give her to me. And the mom wouldn't do it. So she ended up reporting her to CPS. So CPS was involved with this family, and Sequoia was unalived and dismembered and put in bags and stored in the apartment. And I'm like, where was CPS? I mean, she wasn't in a freezer or a refrigerator because of her level of decomposition. So either they didn't go to the house and check, or they ignored the smell. I mean, there's so many questions. The more I dig into that story, the more questions I have. And I just think that child was failed by obviously her mother and the system, quite honestly.
Yep. Bonsai Buddy, thank you very much for coming out tonight. And Trev, you're saying House Bill 384. I thought that was passed and signed already. I know it was right after Evelyn Boswell had gone missing and was discovered that it was past the Tennessee House. Okay, it was signed. There you go. So there's the information for it. It's Evelyn Boswell's law. It's House Bill 384. It's a Class A misdemeanor. So that's even if they say, oh, it's not them, they still have them on that Class A misdemeanor.
Yep. Am I crackling any better?
You're 1,000 times better. Thank you very much.
Okay. Good, Nani.
Thank you. So
Trev,
I didn't catch it all of what you had to say, but did you touch upon who the father of these children were?
I've not. Okay, so you're speaking about Dennis, right?
Yes.
I've not ran into that information yet. I've only gone over a couple of news sites, and I just wanted to lay some groundwork of tonight of why I'm going to give a little bit of background history on it, and the way I'm going to go forward with this type of deal. That's why I was just more or less doing so tonight, and letting everybody know that this is a story that they're going to want to watch. They're going to want to check out. It's
It's utter failure.
Yeah, it's just almost as bad as Summer Wells, except for this mom when the children were taken away, got herself straightened out
Yes.
and was working on getting the children back into her own custody.
Yes. And you got to remember that this mom was a victim herself, because who she was given to, the father of her children, she was given to as a child to be raised by.
Mm-hmm.
But that's sinking.
I'm just glad you're gonna help cover it.
I'm glad
more
somebody
attention.
with substance is covering it. Somebody
Yeah.
that can cover it and cover it well.
Yeah.
It needs more attention, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And everybody, once again, if you're not sure of who we're speaking about, I showed the image of the picture of this little boy earlier, and I'm going to go and put it up again.
He's so adorable.
He steals your heart.
Yep.
I mean, I would be glad to take another dog.
Yeah.
If you don't want them, bring them to me. I'll take care of them.
Look at him.
He steals your heart.
Adorable.
It's the same way I felt about Evelyn as well.
Yep. Yep.
They just never got a chance to live their dreams.
No. And to be Christmas Eve should have been one of the happiest days for them.
Mm-hmm. And you remember in Michael Monkey Vaughn,
Yeah.
what was the lady's name? Sandra Wandra? Or
yes.
Shonda Wandra? She even got charged for failure to report. I mean, I know that they've released her now, since I think they just foobarred that whole case, but you know, they charged her with failure to report a death when they locked her up originally.
I don't think they messed anything up with that. I think that they had to be creative.
Yes, they had to find something.
Be creative with the laws on her with that case, with that situation, because what was going on is that you had a person that had mental health issues and was treatable by medication, and her infrequently taking the medication made her, for lack of a better word, incooperative, or whatever the correct wording of that would be.
Right.
She wasn't cooperating. But when she was on her medication, and it was just an interchange of she was taking her medication, not taking her medication. So when she was taking her medication, she was cooperating and working with the police. So they had to get creative and get her stable to get the real story out.
Do you think that they got the real story though? Because I feel like when you, like, I am super impatient when it comes to these kids getting found and when they are not here with us anymore, getting them justice. But I feel like when you get creative just to get somebody arrested so you can do what you need to do, sometimes that creativity backfires a little bit.
I completely get where you're going with that.
Yeah.
But I think this case, it needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I was glad that they arrested somebody. I just hope that they're not.
You got to remember that trip that they took to Texas to get a dog.
Yeah.
But on the way back, there was no dog.
Right.
In the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they moved. And this is my opinion. Allegedly, I feel like they moved him.
Well, and you know who was the other baby? Was it Oakley Snow?
Yep.
She was dropped off on a road trip, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so it's not uncommon, I guess. But I don't know. I really just want him. I want them all to get justice.
I was just thinking about this the other day, with Michael Vaughn. For those who don't know, I actually started. I was covering Michael Vaughn on a couple different channels.
Yep.
One of them is no longer around, and I was talking with Miss Q Carlock and John QQ about this, and I was studying the maps and everything like that around his house, and I still remember my initial reaction was to where he lived was, it's going to be a child's natural instinct to want to go to, on a hot summer day, to go to the splash pad that's right by the house.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I also said there was a park about a block and a half, 2 blocks away, and we're doing map studies like you guys have all seen me do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's a house about a block and a half, or there was a park about a block and a half, 2 blocks away, and it would be easy to lure a kid there to play with a soccer ball, or a football, or have to toss a football around or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's literally right on the corner, right across the street from where Sarah Wandra's house was.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, remember, he was on his little scooter too, and
Yeah.
the scooter was in their yard.
It was in their yard?
What?
If I'm correct, it was in their yard, and she didn't know
scooter?
who it was.
Oh.
His
I
little
didn't know.
tricycle or scooter that he was
Yes,
riding
sir.
around?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Uh-huh.
sir.
Yeah. It was found on the street, on the curb.
Yeah, right on the curb.
And there was some sketchy people hanging out at that house.
Man, they were picking people up off the road, giving them a ride and a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's just something
And they're interviewing with the guy in the hot tub still.
Yeah.
I don't know. That creeped me out.
The one that
His
don't
name-
smoke in the house.
His name's
Mhm.
Brandon, right?
I don't know the name, but
I
don't
think
remember.
it's Brandon. I'm almost 100% positive it's Brandon. And then they had another one, and he would go back and to from Texas to there, Texas to there.
I just want to say, not to change the subject here, but I got pretty freaked out when I heard that guy that was connected to the Summer Wells case died. The one that
Which
was living
one?
in the house. The one that was living in the house that came on a couple of the YouTube things and talked about her. He
Jose?
had supposedly an addict.
Jose?
Yes, Jose.
Yeah. That was I don't remember the exact date that came out that he had passed away, but it's been pretty close to the 1-year anniversary, probably slightly before that. But
wasn't there someone else too that passed away that was involved with them? A younger gentleman.
there was another person that was found in one of the local rivers.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I don't remember his name off the top of my head.
Oh
What
my
did-
gosh. So 2 people connected to this?
Oh no, there's more.
There's more.
There's more.
Mhm.
There's more. Oh
Y'all
yeah.
are going to blow my mind again tonight.
Well,
There was
RJ, did you-
Leslie.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, a neighbor of Allie's, who had been witness to Candace's behavior and how she treated the boys.
Laying on the driveway.
Yes, laying on the driveway.
Yep.
Laying on the
Blacktop-
driveway.
on a blacktop Juju, on a blacktop driveway as a punishment in the summer.
Oh,
Takes
hell
them out of the
no,
pool. They're
guys.
wet bodies.
RJ, didn't she do an interview on a phone call with someone? Because they live right side by side, and they were on the porch talking with someone, doing a phone interview.
I remember hearing her say that.
And Allie and them would be hollering at them, and I know I'm right. I mean, there's just so much to this case. There is so much.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was telling y'all the other night. It's like a mountain, and y'all are all on the top of it, and I'm sitting here at the bottom going, "What?"
No, we're not on the
There you
top
go.
of it yet.
Yes, is Marlena Crawford's father that was in the river, that was swimming in the river. Let's just leave it as he was swimming in the river.
Yes. He happened to lose his footing, huh?
Yeah. Leslie, I don't remember what the reason for her. Some say it was a heart attack, and some say it was illegal substance related.
Was it around the time that DCF was looking for their witnesses?
I think so.
Yeah.
They're saying a tree trimmer
She died of
also.
convenience.
Yes, Wisconsin Mama, exactly. It just recently it came out, and if you follow Ziggy's channel, one of her videos from no, it wasn't Randy. It was one of his coworkers. KU, thank you very much for coming back. It was and I don't remember the name of the tree trimmer, but one of the tree trimmers had recently passed away as well. I would say maybe 8 months ago now.
What did he see them drive by or something with her?
But the news of it came out just recently that he passed away. Though all the tree trimmers say that they saw her in a vehicle when they were leaving Ben Hill Road.
Wow.
That sounds very odd to me, just from a person that doesn't know hardly anything about the case outside of what y'all told me. And there's been multiple people that died, and it sounds like they all died relatively close to an anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And usually,
suspiciously.
And usually that is when, and not to throw out my own personal life, but I always still get emotional around my brother's anniversary of his death. And, it brings a lot of feelings to the surface that you normally don't think about. And I wonder if they weren't getting emotional or feeling some sort of guilt and wanting to talk and somebody silenced them.
Okay, my apologies. I'm being corrected. I thought it was Marlena Crawford's father, or father-in-law, maybe. I'm not sure, but I'm being told if you look at where Summer 1-800-TBI find said, it was Earl Taylor, not related to Marlena Crawford. So Randy, a name we mentioned a moment ago, that was the tree trimmer that said that he saw Summer, or a girl, a child, in the back seat of the truck when they were leaving Ben Hill Road.
Who is they? Is this after the whole day trip and Walgreens and Priceless and all that?
We don't know, but we know there was a few trips off of Ben Hill Road that day that go unmentioned.
Oh.
So I don't know which it was. If it was early in the morning, one of the afternoon trips, we don't know that information. We just know that the tree trimmer, specifically Randy, said he did see a child in the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Childress, I believe that is the person that was the tree trimmer that passed away.
Pretty convenient that if this all comes to trial, everybody's gone.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like they were, like maybe they were feeling guilty and wanting to talk, and then someone silenced them to keep them from talking because the anniversaries bring up emotions,
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about the video?
What video?
The one from the chat the other day.
The one we gave RJ.
Oh, you know what? Go ahead and put that in. Go ahead and put that in the chat here, if you would, in the private chat here, because I honestly lost the link to that. I closed my browser and had
But
to
yeah, when you
restart my
browser,
computer
you
for an
lost
update. I had to do an update on my computer, and I lost the link completely.
I went to go get it after. I was like, shoot, I should have got it beforehand. And it was gone.
Well, and how did they identify the tree trimmers that saw her? Did they identify her as a little girl? Because I would think with a shaved head they would, but she was in a pink outfit supposedly, wasn't she? So maybe
They
they
just
realized
said a
pink.
child.
Right. They said,
Oh.
from my memory, them reporting, they said it was a child. Where some are 1-800-TBI find? Yes, I am saying that Randy is alive. I'm saying it. I believe the name of the tree trimmer that passed away was Paul Childress. Yeah, it can look. I don't know. Say if I'm sorry that it, got you intrigued on this or got you going on this, but Summer Wells, but it gets twist the road up the mountain twists around quite a bit.
Yeah.
To use your
Definitely.
phrasing on this,
Juju, you got that link to that
there you
video?
go. Paul Childress was the supervisor. He had passed away.
No.
It was in that chat, Marie, and it closed out. We weren't able to grab it.
I'll have to find it again.
Yeah, if you guys find it again, please email it to me so I can take a look at it because you guys were giving me that information as well.
If I go in there to send it to you, I'm gonna drop off panel.
You can do so later.
We
Okay.
have his email somewhere. I know. I think I wrote it down. It's in my in the office in my notepad.
Because
I put it in our chat, Juju.
I believe he can get.
Oh, in our personal chat.
I copied it. Yeah, and put it in our personal chat.
Oh, okay. Okay, we'll get it to him.
Because I think RJ would really like to hear this one. And there's several other ones too, if you go into her page. She's got a lot.
Guys.
Thank you, BB Diamond, for that information. I was a little bit off, but not too far off.
I have got to get up early. I have work, but I wanted to come up and say hi and thank you.
I appreciate you doing so. Everybody, again, check out Juju's Rabbit Hole. She is starting out getting into true crime, and I believe that her channel is going to go places.
Yeah, it is.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I about had a fit when I hit 200 subscribers. You were talking about your small with just 5,000. I was like, I can't imagine. And it's not. I've always said I'll never monetize my channel because it's not about that. It's about the kids. So it's I just didn't think that I would have 200 people interested in anything I had to say. So I was shooting glitter when that happened.
You are a passionate person.
I get a little fired up, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, I know you do, but you do it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Juju, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is you do it for the right reasons, and
she loves children.
Exactly.
She don't like nobody harming none. Now you want to see her get mad, mess with a young'un, and she's gonna come unglued.
Yep.
Yeah. I've done it before, and I'm proud, not proud of it. But I'll just tell y'all this: even in real life, my husband knows I'm not a Karen. I'm not running around sticking my nose in everybody's business. But we went to a restaurant one time, and there was a man that was slamming his child up against a minivan. And I got in his face and told him if he wants to hurt somebody, hurt me, don't hurt his kid. And it was a whole thing. But he didn't mess with his kid anymore there at the restaurant. And of course, I called the cops, and they came and took care of it. But excuse me, I got something in my throat. It's just something I'm passionate about. Animals, kids, and old people. You're not going to mess with them like me.
Nita's World, thank you very much for coming in tonight and saying hello. Appreciate it. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off there, Juju. I wanted to make sure that
No,
that person knew I said hello.
no, you gave me a chance to cough and clear my throat, so thank you. But I'm gonna go because I got to get up early in the morning and work. But what time do you usually go live, RJ? Are you just
Typically,
random like I am?
no. Because of my work schedule, I pretty much stick to 8:30, 8:45 at night. Sometimes Sundays, if depending on if another channel that I occasionally will go on, or if they have a topic that I'm like heavily interested in following, like if he's talking about, I can't remember the man's last name, but Daniel. A couple of people in my channel are just going to go ahead and put his name up there, Daniel. If he's talking about him, I'll make sure that I'm on earlier than that, than him going on live if I catch a notification before that. But it's kind of one of those deals where Sundays is I'm either on by 6 o'clock or at 6 o'clock, or I'll wait till around 8:30, or I'll schedule it at 8:30. But Tuesdays is 8:30. Daniel Robinson. See, I told you somebody's going to bring up his last name. And then Thursday nights is 8:30, 8:45 ish, depending on how I feel coming off of work or at my work day. I'll schedule at 8:30, 8:45. So it's typically around 8:30.
Okay. Well, that'll work because I usually get off. I'm usually done with work around 2:30 my time, which I'm central, and if I've been able to do enough research to have a good foundation for a live, I'll go live anywhere between 2:30 and probably 7. And I've been trying to do a live every other day at least.
Yeah.
So, I just like to find out when the people I like are going live so I can kind of navigate around, because I'd like to have a conversation with y'all rather than, going on at the same time.
I understand, and I feel the same way. That's why, if it's a creator that I enjoy talking to, I will definitely, if I see I normally try to schedule my lives by the time I go on lunch, or that about lunchtime in the middle of the day. That way, if I'm working with a creator, or like you're saying, and I want to give them the opportunity to say, hey, look, I have something planned. You're welcome to join me, type of deal. If you don't have anything like seriously planned or majorly planned, and if you do, go for it. Do what you got to do.
Oh, definitely.
Country girl. Let me go ahead and get rid of this real quick so you can see. In my upper right is Juju's Rabbit Hole. In the lower left is 900+subs, and in the lower right is Lorraine.
Hi.
And 900+subs and Lorraine, I don't believe have channels, but Juju's Rabbit Hole does. Sorry?
Nani has a channel. She just can't go. She's not going on right now.
Okay.
RJ, I have my own case.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if
she's living it.
I don't know if you ever heard about my granddaughter Evelyn.
No, don't think I have.
Okay. Well, we're in the middle of the same thing with New Hampshire.
She was one of the lucky ones, RJ. We saved her.
Good.
Yeah. We went all the way to Indiana and got this baby back. We fought states. They said that we wouldn't be able to do it, and we got it done. I can't fully talk about it just yet.
Understood.
But
understood.
Soon. I'll talk in private to you about it.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to email me, talk to me, that's fine. I'll be more than happy to talk about it with you. And of course, as I promised to anybody, if you email me and you're saying what 900+subs is saying, that she cannot publicly put information or does not want public information publicly put out, it's never going to cross my lips.
Yep.
Right. Until you give the go, it's silence. Real quick before I jump down, Honeybee, I noticed you've asked a couple of questions. I have a friend that does my avatar and my graphics, and if you need to get a hold of her, if you want something done, you can email me if you go to, well, my email is jujucurious@gmail.com. You can find it. My links for my socials on my about section on my YouTube channel. And you asked if my first video was alive. I've done all of my stuff except for one is alive. And so I tried to do a pre-recorded video, and it showed up when it posted. It was a pre-recorded live, so there was a live chat. I don't understand that. So if you go and you just go to my page, you'll see some stuff on the home screen, but when you click on the lives, you'll see a list of everything I've ever done. So if you need help, I'm kind of thinking you're starting a channel, so if you need help with anything, you can message me. I'm on Facebook, on Twitter, and the email, and I'll be more than happy to share what I know with you to help you out.
Loading YouTube plays. I put on the screen just now. Miss Justice and Carrie Lawson have been both posting my email address throughout the night. It's on the screen right now. Anybody is welcome to email me. Like I said, it's purely on anonymity until you tell me that is anything that we had discussed is able to be put out publicly, or if you're giving me a case information or anything like that, or you have a case that you think needs attention. Juju and I are very like-minded. That before she goes, I know she wants to go, but I'm saying this.
I don't want to.
Me too, and want to. I understand.
Yeah.
We're both very like-minded people in that we don't have any interest in making money off talking about missing children, missing persons, and no story is too small.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I don't care if they're kids or adults. I mean, I'm covering one story right now about a young lady named Andy Wagner. And she's being completely disregarded because she had an addiction issue, but she had made a plan and she was coming back from it. And I think her trying to leave, this is just my opinion, but I think her trying to get out of the life is exactly what got her gone. But so, you know, I believe that we're all human and we all are valued, and I don't want kids discounted as runaways just because, quote unquote, kids run away as they're teenagers. Because, you know, Desiree Kappas, I think that she got herself into something that she can't get out of, and I hope she's okay, and I hope we can find her. But they're not really putting a whole lot into it because she's a 14-year-old, and that's a whole thing. That I don't want to overtake the stream, but that's a whole story. And then there's another young lady that her name is Michaela Standridge, and she's a 25-year-old single mom with a son, I believe, younger than 10. And she was trying to get out of life. Her boyfriend is allegedly directly connected to trafficking, and she was dialing 911, screaming for help when her phone was disconnected, and planted evidence after searches and all this kind of stuff, and she's disappeared, and her family is just playing hell trying to find her. And it's just, I don't care who it is. If they need help, I'm going to help as much as I can. That's just all there is to it. Exactly.
And that's what I feel. You know, it doesn't matter if I sit there and talk about 50 cases or I talk about one. You guys heard me. My mind is, I hate to say singularly focused a lot of the time because Summer Wells is practically my backyard. You know, not very far away from where I live. Right. It makes sense for a local to talk about what's going on in their proverbial backyard.
Of course.
But I started, as I was saying to you, I think I was saying on your channel, you know, I started out where I talked about every missing kid that I could possibly find information on. You know, and I have every single intention of getting back to that, but I keep not doing it. But
I would like for was to look into little Levi out
Yeah,
of
honey.
Douglas, Georgia.
Levi.
Yeah.
He was 5 months old and was starved to death.
His mother,
Ugh.
Levi and Nani are
his mother
jewels.
videotaped it and laughed.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Took her,
she,
took
she,
the baby to the plant where she worked at, and he was a healthy, I think he was 9 pounds and something when he was born.
yeah,
He
Ugh.
didn't, when he
It's
passed,
terrible.
I think it was like less
Yeah.
than 5 pounds.
yep.
Wow. I'll have to look into that.
Terrible.
And nothing was ever done. Nothing.
Mhm.
And
That
see,
that reminds me so much of the little boy that I was telling the baby that I was telling you guys about on Juju's channel. That down in Florida where they were wanted or were later were arrested for the demise of an older sibling.
Yep.
But they decided to drive around after they got out of that after birth to just go on a road trip, like not even a month old or 2 months old, just go on a road trip of Florida and avoid the police as much as possible.
It's
Yep.
insane to me. Insane. I hate it. But these two ladies that are up here with us, RJ, they are very, very good at sending information and cases, and they come across stuff all the time. And I mean, I can't think of a day that Lee Ray hasn't sent me a story about something. And if I ask either one of them to help me find information, they do. They help me with a lot of legwork.
I've been very blessed with both Carrie and Cosplay, who was here earlier, and I can always use more. And not saying I'm drafting you, or if you want to help me out as well, I can always use more people to help research, because sometimes the way my workday goes, it could be calm seas or absolutely chaotic.
Yep.
Same. Same.
And I could be looking at something and read sentence 5 or 6 different times and go and sit there and scratch my head because my mind is focused on my job. And I turned to Carrie and Cosplay. I said, "Hey, can you take a look at this?" And I'm just bombarded. And whether it's that something they can turn immediately to, or it takes them a little bit of time to do so. And I tell them what I think it's saying, they come back to me and say, yes, that's what you got it right. Or, they let me know that, in their own way that it's pointing in a different direction.
It's so funny that you say that, because I am the exact same way. I can read a paragraph 10 times and have no idea what it's talking about, because I have work brain, where sometimes at the end of the day, I'm fried.
Yep.
So I just have to relax. And, I think there's not a good creator. There is a good team.
Exactly.
And, the more, the merrier. Because we sit there and talk and dissect and just go over these things. And sometimes we have opinions or angles that the other ones didn't think about. And that really, that's what makes it whole.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
Exactly.
makes it whole.
Fight.
Yeah.
You have to.
Okay, I'm going to get down. I said that like 20 minutes ago. I'm getting down. I got to go to bed. But
have a good night,
so
Juju. But thank you for coming by.
Thank
Juju,
you,
I'll
and
talk
good
to you
night,
tomorrow.
chat. Yes,
All right,
ma'am, I
honey.
know. I love y'all. I'll talk to
you.
y'all later.
All right.
Bye,
Bye
guys.
Bye-bye.
bye. RJ,
Yes.
when you have a child in a predicament where they're in danger and they're in danger, you do everything you can to get them back. And this is what really bothers me with the reaction of the Wells. It infuriates me, because when I didn't know if my loved one was safe, I couldn't produce a smile on my face. I couldn't sleep at night. I was literally sick to my stomach. I would do everything, move heaven on earth. I can't even say some of the stuff I would do on here, but pay private detectives and just go into the hole, okay, to do what I have to do to make sure that your loved one is safe or that a baby is safe.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's why at every single night, every single end of my show, I say exactly the same thing. I say what time it is, and you used to hear this in the 80s and the early 90s.
Yeah.
The news would come on, and I'm going to be renting in a few moments, but not right now. But and yes, cosplay, I saw you. Yes, I'm still on. I'm still alive. The 10 o'clock news would come on, and this is exactly where I get this from.
Yep.
They would have a chime, a bell with dong, ding, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they would say at the moment it struck 10 o'clock, before they started the news broadcast,
Yep.
it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your kids are?
Yep. I remember it.
And back then, there wasn't, some areas did have a curfew, but it wasn't as broad as it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Where almost every single town and city has it, where if you're under 16 years of age, just throwing a number out there, that you have to be off the street at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
But you still don't have that constant reminder anymore.
I want to say, you don't give up, people. If you're going to put in a report and call for a child to try to help and save a child, and they don't respond to you, and you don't feel like they really listened, call back the next day. Call back the next day. We called every single day for 6 months. Every single day for 6 months. We called. And when I say we called our governor. We called our mayor. We called CPS. That's what it was down there. That's why I say it so much. CPS. We called our judges. I protested the courts. Like, you have to be an advocate and you have to be out there screaming for your child. And I don't see that with the Wells. I don't see that with Megan Boswell. I don't see that with Harmony's family or with Eli's family or with Dennis's family. I don't see it. Although Dennis's mom is trying. She's trying really hard to get that word out there. But you have to be an advocate. And the news don't want to cover it. The news don't want to cover it. So you have to make sure you do it yourself. I got a local rogue reporter. I don't know if you've ever heard about him. His name is Turtle Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, he puts it all out there. And he did. He put it all out there. And it came down to someone seeing something and finally saying something. And that's my logo. See something,
Yes.
say something.
That's right.
And it came down to someone finally seeing it and saying, I can't watch this no more. And that's when
Be nosy. Tell, talk.
If you feel like that child, any child, is being abused and neglected, you need to call. You're obligated to call. It is your duty as a citizen, as a human being, to put that call in. And you have to do it for the children, people. You have to, because they can't help themselves. And it's not going to take one phone call. You need to follow up, and you need to make sure that something happens. You need to follow up.
Look, honestly, look, I live in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I don't hide that I live in Kingsport.
You heard
Northern states, they just got out for summer.
Yep.
Southern states, we're a month and a half to go from going back to school. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want to be the person that calls CPS,
Call the school.
Call the school, talk to the school counselor, talk to the principal, say, hey, look, I don't know if this is something that CPS needs to be informed of.
Yep.
Let somebody that's a trained professional that knows may know about a situation or ongoing issue, and let them make the decision just to report it to them. That way you're not ratting on your neighbor. It's it's a way a school district can be used in a positive way, even though you're not involved in the school. You're putting the onus on the school to do what their job is and report it to CPS and help CPS investigate.
Yep. You know Oakley Snow, right?
Not really, to be honest.
She's the little Indiana girl that was found in the draw.
Okay, yeah.
And
I know who you're talking about now.
Yep, her little brother was left in a trap house. Just a couple months old he was.
Mm-hmm.
He is. But he was found and he's safe. But Oakley was in the draw. Okay, and she's not with us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the same week that we were getting Evelyn back, we went down there to retrieve Evelyn. That was happening with Oakley in the same 2-block area. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
DCF CPS knew that they messed up so bad on both of these children that CPS went on lockdown. And when the police called CPS for them to come to the scene, they said, no, contact our lawyers, contact our legal department.
Right.
They wouldn't even come for the police.
Not only that, remember, Nani, where the CPS was going back and telling the information to the one you were trying to get?
Yes. Yes, we have actual messages from a CPS worker notifying the mother what was going on every step of the way.
Loading YouTube plays, may I suggest that if you do take action in that type of situation, be on the phone with 911. That way you're protecting yourself and reporting it at the same time. That way, if the parent tries to turn around and accuse you of something,
yeah,
you are already in touch with 911, letting them know what's going on, what you're doing, and why.
I understand what you mean, but when that child leaves your site after that, it's going to be worse for that child. Keep that in mind too.
Mm-hmm.
Any anger the parent has is going to take it out on the child.
Yep.
So you're better off trying to keep it friendly at the moment and help the child behind the scenes as much as you can. Unless you see it physically happening at that moment, yeah, you do what you got to do.
Yep. Ladies, I do appreciate talking with you. I see that the time is almost midnight.
Yeah, you've been on for hours.
I'm going on 3.5 hours right now.
Yeah.
And I really, that was not my plan for tonight. I was thinking like tonight was going to be 2 hours and I'd be finishing up what I got to do for my evening and calling it a night. So I am going to go ahead and end my stream. I do enjoy talking with both of you.
Yep.
I hope you guys come back anytime, even if I don't, put out there that it's going to be an open chat or whatnot. If you like I say, part of the reason I started the channel because I got tired of typing and from working, and I felt it was easier to just say what I had to say.
Right.
You guys are welcome to come up and join me anytime. I always enjoy talking with you too, so please don't hesitate to come to join me.
All right.
Okay.
And I might be bringing a few guests. I have a personal connection with a couple of these parents, so.
Oh, absolutely, anytime.
All right. I'll talk to you.
RJ, it
Absolutely.
was good in here.
Lorraine,
Night,
same as you as always as well.
Night, Lorraine.
Good night.
Dumpling said enjoyed listening to you guys as well.
Week.
I'm sorry, Lorraine, you were and they're gone. Okay. All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Thank you for so much for two things. One, coming out and listening to me tonight. And number two, the stories that we follow and we're going to continue following more stories. It's not that Summer Wells isn't important, but there are other stories of things that happen to kids that are important as well. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. As I was mentioning a little bit ago, every single night when I close out a show, I say one thing. This time it's midnight. Do you know where your kids are? If you do, give them an extra hug, give them a kiss, let them know that they matter to you, then that you love them. It doesn't matter how old or how young it is, even just sending a text message saying that lets them know that you are there for them and important to them. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight. I am RJ. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be setting a schedule for when I'm going to be back doing live. So I will talk to you all on Tuesday. Hope you have a wonderful evening and good night. I'm RJ, and I'm out.